Good morning, everyone. Welcome and thank you for being part of this WorkSafe webinar as part of 2021 Health and Safety Month. A special welcome also to the staff and students at Melbourne Polytechnic who are joining us for this session. It is great to have you with us. My name is Cameron Ling and I'll be your host for this webinar today, which is WorkSafe, Talk Safety with the Multicultural Community. Now, while our program of sessions are virtual, we still have the same aims of Health and Safety Month that we do every single year, which is to keep you up to date. This year, our theme is You Learn Something New Every Day. After we hear from our guest speaker, who I'm going to introduce shortly, there will be time for some questions at the end. Our session this morning features a presentation from Abby Alamin, Occupational Health and Safety Inspector, WorkSafe Victoria. Abby has over 20 years experience in the field of occupational health and safety and workers' compensation. She's passionate about educating employers and ensuring that people get to go home safe to their loved ones. And she does this every day by undertaking workplace inspections to ensure that employers are meeting their legal OHS responsibilities and are providing practical guidance and support on hazard identification and risk control, and are also communicating with their workers in health and safety matters. Abby has some great information for our viewers today about who WorkSafe Victoria is and how they can help you as a worker. It's my great pleasure now to introduce Abby so we can hear from her. Abby, welcome first of all. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, Cameron. Thank you for that great introduction, and a warm welcome to the staff and students of Melbourne Polytechnic and everybody else watching today. My name is Abby Alamin and I'm an inspector with WorkSafe Victoria. Today's presentation aims to provide you with an introduction into the importance of staying safe at work, what your employer must do to keep you safe, who WorkSafe is, and what WorkSafe can do to help. So why is health and safety important whilst you're working? Health and safety is important because it keeps you safe from being injured at work. In Victoria, we have laws that protect the health, safety and well-being of employees and other people whilst at work. These laws are the Occupational Health and Safety Act and the regulations. These laws protect you from unsafe work that may place you at risk of injury, illness or death. Your employer must follow these laws and provide you with a safe place to work. You must also follow these laws and must not do anything that's going to harm yourself or anybody else. Here is a short video about what does safe at work mean.
If you are working in Victoria, it is your employer's responsibility to keep you safe at work. This includes protecting you from physical and psychological hazards, such as workplace violence and bullying. Your employer must ensure that your workplace safety policies are practiced and that you understand them and that you're properly trained how to work safely. If you see something unsafe at work, it is your responsibility to tell someone. Information is available in your language. Please visit worksafe.vic.gov.au/languages. Or to speak with someone in your language, call 131 450 and talk to WorkSafe today.
As mentioned earlier, your employer must follow the health and safety laws to prevent you from being hurt or sick whilst at work. Under these laws, your employer must provide you with a healthy and safe place to work, provide you with information, instruction, training and supervision so that you can do your job safely and not put anyone else at risk. Provide you with information in your own language if you need it, provide you with personal protective equipment to work safely, and keep all machinery and equipment safe to use. Your employer must also tell WorkSafe if a serious injury happens to you at work. And if you're injured and you need time off work, they must also tell WorkSafe. An example of serious injuries include amputation, head injuries, eye injuries, spinal injuries, and even electric shock, and serious lacerations that require stitches. It's important that you understand that whilst your employer must follow these laws, as a worker, you too have a responsibility under these laws. As a worker, you need to take care of your own health and safety whilst at work, as well as the health and safety of others. And this includes your workmates and the community. You must follow your employer's instructions and any workplace safety procedures. These instructions and procedures are in place to make sure that you can do your job safely. And report any hazards or risks identified to your employer. If you see something that is unsafe, or if you're unsure how to do your job safely, speak up and speak to your boss and your manager. As a worker in Victoria, you have a right to be safe at work. If you're asked to do something that is unsafe and that you think it may be unsafe or cause you risk, you can refuse to do that work. If you see something that is unsafe, it's also important to speak up and report it to your supervisor and manager. If you're injured at work, you should report the incident to your employer. They must keep a record of this injury and notify WorkSafe Victoria. Remember, it is okay to say no to unsafe work. This is a short video. We'll introduce you to WorkSafe Victoria.
Sometimes incidents happen at work. When they do, WorkSafe is there to help. WorkSafe is there to make sure all workers are as safe as possible in the workplace. It is a legal requirement for all Victorian industries and workers to be covered by WorkSafe in case there is a workplace injury. As a worker, you are covered even if you are working full-time, part-time or casual. If you are injured at work, you should make a claim to your employer. This will help you to get compensation for any time off work and medical costs for your injury, getting you back to safe work as soon as possible. The good news is there is minimal cost to your employer. WorkSafe works with workers and employers. However, their main goal is to ensure safety in the workplace at all times. They do this by doing inspections of workplaces to make sure they are using safe work practices. Information is now available online in your language at worksafe.vic.gov.au/languages. Or to speak with someone in your language, call 131 450 and talk to WorkSafe today.
WorkSafe is the health and safety regulator in Victoria and plays a very important role in the lives of Victorian employers and workers. WorkSafe aims to keep all workplaces healthy and safe and to provide care and treatment when workers are injured. WorkSafe upholds the health and safety laws in Victoria and conducts visits to workplaces to make sure employers are following the law and that workplaces are safe. If an incident occurs at your workplace or you report a health and safety issue, a WorkSafe inspector, like myself, may visit the workplace to make sure your employer is following the law. If you're injured at work, WorkSafe may also be able to provide you with support, including medical treatment or payments if you're unable to work. So, WorkSafe inspectors. WorkSafe inspectors conduct visits in Victorian workplaces and respond to health and safety issues. And typically an inspector will visit your workplace during working hours or any time that there is an immediate risk, and will visit for 3 reasons. There may be a strategic intervention in looking at a particular hazard or an industry, for example, forklift safety or chemical safety. We may be responding to an incident in regards to someone being injured in your workplace, or there may be a health and safety concern that's occurred. Somebody has called our advisory and they're wanting an inspector to come out and make further inquiries into issues within the workplace. When an inspector attends your workplace, they'll provide advice and information about work-related hazards and risks and how this can be controlled or eliminated. If you have a health and safety rep, the inspector will speak to them and invite them to be part of the inspection. The health and safety rep also plays an important role in helping keep workplaces safe. The Occupational Health and Safety Act gives health and safety reps a role in raising and resolving any occupational health and safety issues with employers. And health and safety representatives can represent their designated work groups on occupational health and safety concerns and can help facilitate that communication and consultation and provide that critical link between the employer and the employees. If you see something that is unsafe at work and your employer has not fixed the problem, you can contact WorkSafe anonymously and request a visit from an inspector. Your employer will not know that you reported the issue. So, what is a hazard? Unsafe working conditions may put you in danger both physically and mentally. Hazards in the workplace can include things like repetitive movement, heavy lifting, working with unguarded machines, working with chemicals, or even working in noisy or even hot or cold environments. Remember, you have a right to speak up and say no to unsafe work that may put you at risk of injury or illness. Here are a few examples of some hazards that you may have seen in the workplace. Broken or unstable ladder that may cause you to fall, a blocked drain causing water to pool, creating a slip hazard, an overloaded forklift where the operator's vision is blocked, which can also lead to damage of the forklift. Forklifts are a common feature found in many workplaces as they offer a practical materials handling solution. But for many businesses, they continue to be associated with workplace deaths, injuries, which inspectors constantly visit on a daily basis and see the trauma that's caused by these forklifts. The human and financial costs of forklift-related incidents for workers and the industry, and including the community, is substantial. However, forklift incidents can be prevented when safety measures are in place and being followed. Let's look a little bit at mental health. Work is a big part of our daily lives. Sometimes work can impact not only your physical health, but also your mental health. A psychological hazard is something that can cause physical injury, mental injury, or even both at the same time. Examples of psychological hazards include bullying, stress, sexual harassment, fatigue, and can even include customer violence and abuse. It's important that you report these issues to your employer, as it is their job to prevent them from occurring. If your employer does not respond to an issue, you can contact WorkSafe Victoria for further advice. This video will briefly explain what to do if you're injured at work.
A WorkSafe claim can be made when you are injured at work. A claim is different to sick leave. It's where you get time off work and medical expenses paid because of your work-related injury. To make a claim, follow these steps. First, tell your employer immediately about the incident. Then, when you seek treatment for your injury, be sure to keep copies of all receipts and invoices from your appointments. Then, complete the worker's injury claim form and give it to your employer. It is important to remember that your company cannot refuse your claim or fire you for making one. The good news is there is minimal cost to your employer. If your claim is accepted, you'll be given a WorkSafe agent case manager. They will guide you through your recovery and help you return to work. During this time, stay in contact with your employer. If they can do anything to make your work safer, tell them, so that they can organise it for when you return to work. Information is now available online in your language. Please visit worksafe.vic.gov.au/languages. Or to speak with someone in your language, call 131 450 and talk to WorkSafe today.
If you're injured at work and it is serious, visit your doctor immediately or call 000 if it is an emergency. Tell your employer as soon as you can. They must keep a record of your injury and tell WorkSafe Victoria. If you need time off work, see your doctor and get a certificate of capacity. If you're unable to work and need time off to recover, you may be eligible for paid time off. You should complete a workers' injury claim form and give it to your employer. Your employer must submit your form to their WorkSafe agent for review. If you need to contact WorkSafe for advice or to report a safety issue, you can call anonymously and for free by using the number on this slide. If you require an interpreter, one can be organised by calling 13 14 50. WorkSafe also has translated information available in 19 different languages to help everyone understand their health and safety rights and to assist you with the knowledge and confidence to raise questions and concerns with your employer. This includes translated advice for workers, resources for employers, and videos featuring real workers who share their experiences in Victorian workplaces. This also includes information around COVID-19. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take some questions from the audience and I'll hand back to Cameron to see if any have come through. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Abby, especially for those helpful videos and the great insights as well. Really appreciate everything that you've got there. Don't worry, there are a lot of questions coming your way. Thanks to the audience for engaging so much. I'll jump straight into them. You can keep the questions coming while Abby is answering. As I said, on the right of your screen, keep putting in your questions if you want them answered. This first one, Abby, is a number of people have asked for this one to be answered. How can we encourage more multicultural communities to take the role of an HSR, a health and safety representative?
That is a good question. The health and safety representative is such an important role in a workplace. I guess it's a selfless role. It's not a paid role. It's something you do as part of, I guess, wanting to improve health and safety within the work environment. If you're interested in becoming a health and safety rep, I suggest you talk to your boss, to maybe somebody who's been a health and safety rep in the past, and find out what it's really like. You're welcome to, if you have a visit from an inspector, have a chat to the inspector on site and ask them what does this role involve? What would I be doing? Ask those questions. There's a lot of information on our website as well that can take you through the role of the health and safety rep and the importance of it. It really is that connection between the employer and the workers, because we do find that sometimes in multicultural communities, workers don't speak up. They're afraid to talk to the boss. And if there is a health and safety rep that might speak their language or understand their background, they're more likely to go to them to raise a safety issue than to go to the boss directly. And I think, what an amazing opportunity to make a difference in a workplace. So, yeah, if you have any questions, please reach out, have a look at our website. And if you do know an inspector or come across an inspector in your workplace, don't be afraid to ask them the question as well.
Well, Abby, that last point you made about some people being hesitant to speak to their boss, it probably flows into the next question here, which is a little alarming to read this question and a number of people wanting it answered, but no doubt you come across it regularly, unfortunately. Sometimes I'm asked to do things that don't quite feel right, but I'm scared to say something because I'll lose my job. What do I do?
Yeah, we do get that question a fair bit. There's a couple of things you can do. If you do have an elected health and safety representative, you can go to them to raise the concern, and they don't have to declare that it's come from yourself or whoever it's come from. They can just raise it on behalf of that designated work group anonymously. If there isn't a health and safety rep at the workplace, then I'd encourage you to contact our advisory service. You can be anonymous. You don't have to leave your name, and you can request that an inspector goes out to address the safety issue. So the inspector won't disclose that the complaint has come from so-and-so. Even if you do leave your details, we don't disclose that to the employer, because we do understand that sometimes that can lead to some difficulty in the workplace, and we will then look at what control measures or what the issue is. And if there are breaches of the Occupational Health and Safety Act, we'll issue what is called improvement notices to get the employer to improve the safety systems in their workplace. So you can call up anonymously if you are scared to speak to your boss.
Oh, that's great, Abby, because it probably answers another question that was on here. It's not easy to raise problems with my boss. What is the best thing to do? And I think you've answered that beautifully there. It flows to the next question, though, that's on my screen. What does an inspector do if a health and safety issue is reported?
So what an inspector will do, well, firstly, if the issue has been reported through the advisory service, the inspector will go out to the workplace and make inquiries. Typically, inspectors won't make appointments. We like to turn up and see the workplace as it is. We don't want to tell the employer that we're coming out so the employer can make the workplace perfect. We want to see exactly how the workplace is run on a day-to-day basis. So we'll go to the workplace, we'll ask for whoever is in charge, and we'll start to make our inquiries about the particular issue that was raised with WorkSafe. If there's a health and safety rep, we will engage with that representative and we'll talk to the workers. So it's not just about talking to the boss. We'll do an inspection, we'll walk around and we'll talk to people. And if there are breaches or if there are areas that need improving, then that will be a conversation we'll have with the employer, and they'll be issued with an improvement notice, or even in some instances, a prohibition notice, which will prohibit them from an activity or using an item of plant, whatever it might be. So that's typically how it goes. Again, when we do attend workplaces, there will be a report and documentation that outlines everything for the employer, and the workers can have access to that as well.
Abby, just one last question from here, and I know you've already mentioned it a little earlier, but a number of people just asking for one last clarification. Do you have information on your website in other languages other than English?
Yes, there is information in 19 different languages that you can access on the WorkSafe website. If there is a language there that you think needs to be added, email us and let us know, and we will then make sure that we'll pass that on to the people that manage all of that, and they can then consider that for future publications.
Fantastic, Abby. Thank you to everyone who's asked questions there. Really good discussion about so many different topics. And Abby, for your presentation and being able to answer all of those questions, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. And thanks to everyone who did tune in today. And as I mentioned right at the start, all the very best to the students and staff at Melbourne Polytechnic who have joined us for this webinar today. Before we just finish up, the WorkSafe Victoria website does have a heap of great resources, guides and tools. WorkSafe is always helping to ensure Victorian workers are supported to get through these tough times. Now, if English is your second language, as Abby mentioned earlier, WorkSafe has a lot of great resources to help you. That finishes our webinar today. We hope you found it really interesting and informative. Just one thing to remember, really importantly, if you have anything to discuss urgently, there is the WorkSafe advisory line and emergency line. So please jump on and do that if it is urgent. And we will note on our screen very shortly a list of all the contacts that we've talked about today that you may find helpful. If you have any requests for further information, please do get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for tuning in today, and all the very best.